Ren and Nora Valkyrie, Renora, Team Sloth, Flower Power. However you wish to describe them, they are definitely the most popular ship currently in the RWBY fandom, largely in part due to their iconic scene in Volume 7 where they finally kissed. They are now a definitely canon ship in the RWBY series, but other than that one iconic moment, they had some, rocky relations, to say the least, throughout the course of Volume 7. So today, let's have them work out some of their aggressions in the next exhibition match of the Phoenix Festival Tournament. We're going to have them face each other 1v1 in Amity Coliseum with no ring outs, fighting to a full aura break. We'll take a look at their weapons, their semblances, their fighting styles, and see who would come out winning overall. Though my vote is only one out of many, with all of you in the comments down below deciding who would win this fight in the end. And before we get into this matchup, we need to discuss the previous two matchups, actually. In my last match video of Sun versus RWBY, I forgot to mention who came out to win in Yang versus Blake. During that video, I had thought that Yang would come out winning, and it looks like the people down in the comments below did agree with that for the most part. That although Blake does have more speed than Yang, Yang isn't really slacking in speed herself, but definitely excels in power. And overall, she would just end up winning over Blake. But things weren't as clear-cut when it came to Sun versus RWBY, because I had said that Sun would come out on top, and people in the comments were the most divided out of any match so far. A lot of people saying that, well, it's kind of a 50-50 actually, depending on how things would play out. It could be Sun that wins, it could be RWBY that wins. A few other people were saying that no, Sun would definitely win, agreeing with me, but actually, just a few more people were saying that RWBY would come out victorious overall. So, in Sun versus RWBY, I was wrong. The majority did say, by a small margin, that RWBY would come out victorious over Sun. Now, we'll see after we get the book Before the Dawn if things might change, if Sun has new abilities. We'll see if he has increased his training as well, and that outcome might be a bit different. But for right now, it does seem that RWBY would overtake Sun. But getting into today's match of Ren versus Nora Valkyrie, let's take a look at our two combatants, starting with Ren. As described by Nora, Ren is practically a ninja. With a large amount of speed and acrobatic capabilities at his disposal, Ren can essentially dance around the battlefield, dodging opponents' attacks, and is able to get in close to his opponent without too much difficulty to land quite a few hits against them. And this type of fighting style works very well in conjunction with his weapons, Stormflower. Dual SMGs with wind and fire blades, as described by Miles Luna, but they're not really wind and fire blades, it's more of a sickle-style blade that's on them, but still very much suited to close combat, as the SMG rounds that are fired off don't really have much punching power on their own, though arguably they did get a bit of an upgrade in Volume 7 to pack a bit more of a punch. Still much preferred for Ren to get into close combat, where he can strike with his blades, or the rounds themselves would have more punching power. And the upgrades that he got to Stormflower in Atlas fully accent this type of fighting style. The blades can then be shifted to 90 degrees and fired out essentially like grappling hooks to allow Ren to get the jump on his opponent and get into close combat a lot quicker, given certain scenarios. And this just suits Ren's fighting style to get into close combat. Though it could be a bit of a double-edged sword, because that allows his opponent to get close to him as well and strike back. Where Ren has the speed and acrobatic capability, he doesn't exactly have as much punching power, as I already said, but also the durability. It's been shown a couple times in the RWBY series already that given a few strong hits, Ren's probably gonna go down. So that comes in a bit difficult when fighting opponents that are known for having very strong hits, such as Elm, or, you know, his current significant other, Nora. So this is going to be interesting for Ren to actually have to fight against Nora, because if he takes a couple hits, he's probably going to go down. But outside of the things I already described, Ren is also very adept at using aura. I would argue he's probably the most skilled out of Team Juniper, Team RWBY at utilizing his aura. As shown in Volume 1, when he first fought the King Taijitu, Ren used aura a lot better than what it seemed his classmates were able to do, especially when it comes to sensing the environment around him. He sensed the hostility of the King Taijitu and was even able to use his aura like a barrier. Now, that kind of might have been changed as RWBY progressed, that maybe you can't use aura in that fashion, but still Ren is definitely adept at sensing his surroundings and is very in tune with his aura, largely in part due to his semblance as well, which is tranquility, the ability to nullify negative emotions or mask negative emotions. And with him having an emotion-style semblance, I think it's very useful for him, in conjunction with his aura, to sense the surroundings around him. He's able to sense Tyrion coming from a ways away, and was also, when he was meditating, able to sense Ironwood and Clover entering the room, as well as the hostility of the Aesops when they were there to capture them. Just Ren didn't have a reaction time quick enough to understand what was happening, and they were still captured, etc. Though in a 1v1 fight in Amity Coliseum, this may not come into play that much, but, you know, let me know if there's some interesting things that you think Ren could do with his semblance in this case. Moving on, though, to the next combatant of Nora. Now, Nora is a bit more of a straightforward fighter of hit things hard, because she has the massive amount of power, probably the strongest out of Team Juniper and Team RWBY, as she can bench 5 of herself in base form, and is able to wield her Warhammer, Magdhild. I'm probably mispronouncing that, not really good at my Norse pronunciation, but still, her Warhammer, that's also a grenade launcher, packs a hell of a punch. And Nora is able to wield this with a, you know, fair amount of skill, able to swing it around pretty fast, as well as launch herself into the air using the grenade launcher from Magdhild when it's in its Warhammer form. On top of this, she's gotten a few upgrades to her weapon throughout the course of the RWBY series. In Volume 4, she was actually able to use Magdhild to charge up her own semblance, which is high voltage. She's able to completely convert electrical energy into her own muscles and make herself stronger. Base form, she can bench 5 of herself, so if that's increased exponentially, possibly, or even just doubled, yeah, Nora's gonna hit very, very hard. So if Ren takes even one of those, he's gonna go down. But Nora has to hit him for that to actually happen. And once we get to Atlas, she did get another upgrade to Magdhild as well. She is able to essentially ride it like a witch's broom, and is able to gain some more speed to catch up to faster opponents in those scenarios, though I'm guessing she wouldn't be able to make sharp turns or anything like that, so we'll see how this plays out in battle. Overall, Nora has the strength and the durability, but Ren has the speed and acrobatic capabilities. So let's get into how this match would actually turn out, at least in my mind. Feel free to suggest alternate scenarios down below, but starting off this match, remember, both of these characters are very familiar with each other's fighting styles, so anything that they try could possibly be predicted by their opponent. Of course, both of them being close-range fighters, at long range, Nora has the advantage with her grenade launcher. She only has a limited number of rounds, I believe. The maximum is 6, though that could have changed come Volume 7 if there were upgrades put to that, though I don't think we exactly know. Nora could probably fire off a couple rounds, seeing if she can get in a lucky hit against Ren, but Ren would probably be able to dodge them. Now, Ren would be trying to get in close, possibly using his grappling hooks, though I don't think he would use them at this point, trying to get in close to land some hits against Nora. Now, Nora would switch to her Warhammer form, and her fighting style is adept at, you know, taking very large swings at her opponent. Very predictable that Ren, with his speed, would be able to dodge a majority of them. But again, if Nora lands one good hit, Ren is probably going down. He would be able to whittle away at Nora's aura, and it would be kind of a fight of, you know, one strong blow versus 1,000 cuts, as Ren would need quite a few hits to actually take Nora down. Nora has taken many hits in various different fights throughout the series, and it would be difficult for him to take her down. He would be able to dodge a majority of Nora's attacks, and it would be an interesting fight. Nora would probably get a bit frustrated that she just couldn't hit her opponent, even using Magdhild to electrify herself and increase her own power, possibly also increasing her own speed and swinging power along with that. Might give her a couple glancing blows against Ren, but even then I don't think that would be enough to take him down. Where I see the turning point in the fight, though, is when Ren goes for one, you know, strong strike with his blades, and he actually collides with Magdhild. And at that point, Magnhild would shatter and reveal Hush, Neo's weapon, and then the fight would take a drastic turn. But, you know, outside of that scenario, the way I actually see the fight taking a turn is Nora would use Magnhild to actually launch herself into the air, similar to what was done in the fight with the Deathstalker back in Volume 1. Where she was able to launch herself into the air, transform Magnhild back into a hammer, and slam the ground, creating a shockwave that would knock Ren at least off balance, if not just flying into the wall and possibly end the fight right there. Regardless, it would stagger him, and Nora would probably be able to then land a good hit against him, and Ren would be knocked out. A counter to this, though, since Ren does have the grappling function, if he sees Nora going for this, he could use the grappling function, wrap around her leg or the hammer or her arm, and slam her into the ground and possibly end the fight that way. Overall, with no biomes in play, I do see Nora having the advantage, that all it would take is one clean hit and Ren would go down. Ren, in just an open place with no place to hide or no other biomes or anything to take advantage of, his acrobatic capabilities wouldn't be in full effect and thus would be a lot more vulnerable. No biomes, Nora takes the victory. With biomes in play, especially if it was the cityscape, the urban biome, or the forest, or really even if it was the ice biome that had ice pillars around, or something that Ren could use his grappling hooks and acrobatic capabilities on as well, he would have more of an advantage, able to get in close a lot quicker and, you know, get those 1,000 cuts in along quicker, so that he would be able to actually whittle down Nora's aura and eventually strike a hit against her. If it came to hand-to-hand combat, like for some reason they were disarmed, Nora had her weapon disarmed, Ren would have the advantage in hand-to-hand combat as well. Again, Nora, if she was able to strike a hit against him, would deal a lot more damage than Ren would be able to. But I think Ren would be able to dodge or block Nora's attacks, and if biomes were in play, I think Ren would have the advantage and would win like 6 out of 10, maybe 5.5 out of 10, you know, 11 out of 20. I think Ren overall would have the advantage with biomes in play, but just Nora's strength would be a lot for him to overcome. So, no biomes in play, Nora definitely has the advantage. With biomes in play, Ren does have the slight advantage and would come out winning just a little bit more. So this one is a bit more divided, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think would win between Nora and Ren if they were to go 1v1, no biomes in play, or with various biomes in play? Do you think different scenarios would work out if different biomes were in play, etc.? So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. For the next fight, though, there were a lot of people suggesting this, and this was one I was gonna kind of hold off till later, but it seems one that people want to see, so let's just go for it. We're gonna have Hazel Reinhardt versus Yatsuhashi Daichi, and see how this fight turns out, because these two are probably the strongest people in RWBY so far that we've seen, and frankly would be my favorites for possibly winning the tournament overall. So we'll see how this works out. Hazel's not invincible. I already have an idea of a couple people who can beat him. I'm thinking of doing a separate video on that already, but we'll see how the fight between these two titans will go next week in their next fight. So hopefully you guys will look forward to that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, join the Guild of the Eternal Flame if you want to see more RWBY videos, theories, etc. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.